I made a video about discernment, and what I don't think I talked about is energetic discernment. Because a part of the discernment process is being able to differentiate between your energy and between other people's energy. And not only that, but being able to discern between what that energy is doing, how that energy is making you feel, whether that energy is right for you, the intentions behind that energy. That is a big part of discernment. And I think the reason that so many of us have such a hard time with it is because we are conditioned to be energetically enmeshed, to be taking on other people's energy as if it is our own. One of the best things that ever came from healing work for me is the understanding that a lot of what I was experiencing as my own energy was just the result of the societal conditioning to energetically enmesh with those around us. Meaning that I realized for myself, and I'm not the first person to have said this or pointed this out, that oftentimes I am taking on the energy of others and thinking it's my own. Oftentimes I am taking on other people's moods, other people's fears and anxieties, other people's beliefs, other people's desires, and I don't even realize it. And the problem with this is that it can cause a lot of anxiety and inner conflict within oneself, or at least it did for me, because taking on other people's energy and thinking it's your own causes this like inner confusion and enmeshment that like it's this pulling energy is how I kind of experience it. It's this I don't want to be here, why am I here? I don't want to be feeling this, why am I feeling this? Like for example, a parent's wishes. A parent might wish you to go to school for something or to go to church or to, have some sort of hobby, interest, or talent or something of this nature. And that's not yours, but you've been energetically enmeshed since you were a child. So you take that on, you take that desire, that passion on as your own, but inside of your own body, it doesn't mesh with your energy. So inside of your own body, there's this inner conflict and this pulling energy where you're like, why do I want this thing that sounds so unappealing to me? And another common way this has played out for me is like, I am somebody who has social anxiety and I don't like being in crowds. And the reason I don't like being in crowds is because I don't even realize that I'm taking on everyone's energy around me. And the reason that I'm really hesitant to get close to people is because I don't even realize that I'm like taking on their emotions, right? Like I am unconsciously trying to manage their emotions, make sure that I am fulfilling their emotional needs in our social interaction, because this is the way that we've been conditioned to connect and to communicate, to enmesh energetically with others. So, here are the ways that I personally have begun to energetically unmesh with others and be able to discern between my own energy and somebody else's energy. The first thing that I think has to be done is we have to get familiar with our own energy. And in order to do that, we're most likely going to have to do shadow work, which is most easily defined by going into your unconscious and subconscious mind. I have a lot of content on my other page about that, about unconscious and subconscious work, and about shadow work. If you want to go there, I will link it. But shadow work is going to be the first thing you're going to have to do because you're going to want to get familiar with the parts of yourself that you repress, that you are afraid to deal with. And you're going to want to learn to accept and integrate and deal with and work with those parts of yourself, if for no other reason than so, actually, it's for two reasons. One reason would be so that you can tell what's coming from inside of you and what's coming from outside of you. The other reason would be so that it's okay and comfortable, like so that you can begin to be comfortable sitting in your own energy. Because the next thing you're going to want to do is start to practice being alone in your own energy, sitting with no distractions, nothing to distract you, in spaces of like isolation and silence where you can be in your own energy and really get comfortable and familiar with your own energy. And at some point, you're going to want to start paying attention to your energy in specific situations. Like start to pay attention to your energy at work, your energy at the grocery store, your energy in crowds. your energy versus other people's energy. Start noticing how you feel around different people. How do you feel around every time you're around this person? How do you feel every time you're around this person? What's the difference between your energy around different people? At some point, you might start to notice the way I have started to notice ways in which somebody expresses their wishes or desires or fears or anxieties in some way to you. And that has impacted how you feel. That has impacted your own energy. Like you might start to notice ways in which somebody expresses how they want you to feel, how they want you to behave, and that you take that on as if it's your own, even though it's not your own, at like a subconscious or unconscious level. So you'll probably start to notice that. You might start to notice patterns in different situations, different people, things of this nature, and how your own energy feels, and be able to tell the difference between your energy and other people's energy. And the last and most helpful way for me to do energy discernment is to go into the wild, into nature. And I'm not talking like you can go to parks and things where it's like intentional nature that people go to. I'm talking actual wild, untouched nature. And the reason for this is because the only energy, you're going to feel a lot of different energies, but the only energy other than your own energy you're going to feel largely when you're in nature, wild nature, is that of animals, that of plants, that of the energies that are in nature. And while you will be able to feel different energies the more you're in nature, the difference is nature is not enmeshed. There is no clinging, there is no expectation, there is no conforming, there is no social masking in nature. Nature is just existing. Nature is doing what it needs to do, what it wants to do. Nature is not, there is no conformity in nature. It's literally just nature doing its own thing. So when you're in nature, it's like a really good time to experience your own energy, experience the energy of the nature that surrounds you, and be able to really develop your energetic discernment because there's no expectations, because there's no one pulling on your energy. So it makes it really easy when nobody's pulling on your energy to be able to tell what is coming from me and what is coming from something else, and to be able to work with that discernment. As with everything else, it's not going to be clear cut. It's not going to be this or that, black or white. It's going to be a layered, nuanced process that is different for every single person. But these are the things that have helped me the most. And it's not something that I think we ever snap out of. Like, there's always going to be times when our energy is a little bit enmeshed, I think. But these are just the ways that I've utilized to help me to be able to better have energetic discernment.